recording?
No, hold on.
Oh,
Nope, there it goes. Now we're recording.
now we're on.
Now we're
All
on.
right.
My hair's so
Hi,
fluffy.
Sissy Pants. How
Hi.
you doing today?
I'm good. My hair's very fluffy.
I was just going to say it grows so fast. Maybe not. But
I
it's so
don't-
beautiful. It's
I
so
just
beautiful.
chopped it off to make it short, and then I don't style it. It's just hair. It's just there.
I got to do a little thing. But, once I do, it's good for like 3 days, and I keep putting powder in it.
Powder.
Yeah, that makes it clean. Actually, I love it when the powder's in my hair. It's perfect.
I got an idea.
Ooh,
So
what?
the Sarsahr women, for people that
Yes.
don't know, they love to wear makeup and they like to doll up and do all this fun stuff. I was thinking we could do a makeup tutorial to have them watch, and because they watch Stardust videos and they like check Stardust posts every once in a while. So I think it would be a fun idea to do like a fun makeup tutorial. We would have to both be at the same place at the same time, because then we can show the differences.
That's so funny.
Because I don't do anything. I don't put on any makeup, and then you put on a whole shit ton. And
I know. People are going to be horrified at my dollar store makeup.
It's okay. It's okay.
I'm not cool with that.
And then
it's all tested on animals, by the way.
And you can teach, because then they don't have to like go to like expensive stores. They can learn to just go to everyday dollar
The
stores.
dollar store. That's
and
right.
learn neat tricks and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's so weird. I told Jason earlier that, I have this life of duality.
Mm-hmm.
And my before, I wasn't girly at all. And now, I'm like, Alice trying to tell me, you're so girly, you're so girly. I'm like, no, I'm not. But I am. I like sparkles and pink and tiaras and makeup, and
I have my tiara.
I've become a girl.
You want to see my tiara?
Yeah.
It's for my birthday.
Oh, mine's in the other room, but I got a hair clip. I can turn it into a little crown.
Okay.
Okay, so what are we doing today? Who's waiting in the wings?
We got Sammy, who's waiting. He's been waiting so patiently, but we're talking. And we also have Voltaire in the back. He's waiting behind Sam in the quiet. I know.
Can't wait to get my hands on him.
I know. I can't wait either. I'm so excited about him. Okay. I like it when I pointed out where Voltaire was. Sam turned around. He can't see him. He just turned
He
around like,
still looks. Sammy, you're so silly. I would do the same thing.
like where? And real quick before we begin, this will take about 5 minutes. People can skip ahead if they want, but this is about Sarsahr relationships and stuff. I posted this in the group, but there's a lot of people who watch our videos that don't follow the group. And these relationships aren't easy. And Sam and I got in a fight recently. He's like, why do you feel the need to tell everybody? Because it's important. I'm not going to talk about what happened.
I'm even going to put my 2 cents in, Sam. Get ready.
So, he and I got in a fight, and it's no different than a marital spat that happens. We don't scream and yell at each other. It's a fight by Sarsahr standards, because one of us got angry, and we talk like how I'm talking to you is how we talk through our fights. But one of us, both of us got hurt. Both of us were angry with each other, and later on we needed to lick our wounds a bit and spend some time apart. Not really, because I'm too attached to him. But the thing is that it's no different than any other kind of relationship. For anyone who's ever been in a long-term relationship or currently is, you totally understand the trials that you go through. Mm-hmm. And I feel, and not to get put down other people who are in galactic type of relationships that have never been in a long-term relationship, I'm not putting it down, but I feel like because I've had experience with my boyfriend for so many years before I met Sam, I feel like I had more of an advantage. Like I felt like I was way more prepared to deal with this situation, but that's just me. I haven't experienced the other, the latter.
Right.
So I wouldn't know, but I feel like my experiences with Josh has prepared me for this marriage with Sam even more so. And
it's interesting because my two, well, they have the one similarity, but they're such complete different relationships. However, they both support me in all my endeavors, and I appreciate that. But let me tell you my take on your and Sam's spat. Mm-hmm. Because I was here when it started. We were having a little, just a Skype. And I know that in a way, when you have these little arguments, it validates for you. Because I know you go through these things. Is this real? Is this real? And it's like, I can't possibly be arguing with my hallucination, can I? This has got to be real. But to put that one step further is that I'm here on this side and I'm watching the interaction and I'm like this. Because just like if it were you and Josh, I would be the third wheel or whatever, third whatever. And I'm awkward because the energy between the little spat is making me feel uncomfortable. But I mean, it wasn't a big deal. It wasn't anything bad. I only bring that up because of how real it is.
Yeah.
It's trippy.
You felt like you were at like me and Sam's house while we're fighting while we were visiting, you know, and you're just like, oh my God, what's happening?
I know. I'm going to just tiptoe out, let them finish this.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. So these relationships are not to be glorified in any kind of way. They're no different than any kind of relationship. There's so many people that beg for it. I'm like, really? You want to have a relationship like this? Okay.
Right. It's tricky stuff.
It's hard to be in a long-term relationship, but on top of that,
I know, throwing all the other stuff, huh?
Throwing all the other shit. It's hard. But I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Me neither. I love our lives.
Okay.
Okay, so what's Sammy here to share with us today?
Sorry. He's like, I don't know why you always, it's like he was like a little kid mumbling, I don't know why you feel the need to always bring it up. And I'm like, because it's a learning opportunity.
Here goes another one. I got to go leave the room again. Just kidding.
He says, okay, I'm done. We're not going to do this on here. I'll do it. I'll start it. Okay.
Stop it, I'm leaving.
All right. So I'm going to trance Sam, and we're going to talk about...
Oh, I didn't know you were trancing him. Okay.
Yeah. If you want to trance him, I feel like it would work better.
Okay, let's do it.
And we're going to talk about how they view astral. He'll explain it. I'm done talking.
All right.
Sam? Hold on. I was just teasing her. She got a little too upset about it.
You have such distinct facial expressions. I know it's you when you're here. How's it going, Sam?
It is all right. My personal life has been put on blast, and I do not know how I feel about that.
So what happens when you hook your stars with H, and me too. Everybody that gets to know me, you might have your story told on YouTube one day, so be warned.
I have accepted it. I just don't like to be part of it when it's currently happening.
Oh, that's true. Sometimes you need a little distance between the event and sharing about it because the emotions are still there. I can totally appreciate that. All right, so I don't know exactly what we're talking about today. I just know it's something about Astral, and I'm anxious to hear what you have to say.
I've been told to take it easy with the humans in explaining this because your perception of Astral is quite different than ours. Okay. I want to begin with first saying that we will call the body the physical self and your energetic form the astral self. Okay. You have two forms to you. It is as though you have two bodies, but they are one. They are not separate from the other. Okay. And this is how we are able to communicate with you through astral, because to us it is the same as going to you physically. For us, it is no different. It is the same validated experience. It's not less than, it is not more than. And some of us will say, with my wife, I visit her on a regular basis while in astral. Perhaps I do not have the time nor the energy to sit there and meditate, because we must meditate in order to get our astral self to travel. Okay. No different than how you humans would need to do the same thing. But with Heather, sometimes oops.
You know what? Just do it. We've been doing it for a year now. I'm over it. Heather. It hasn't affected her.
No, it has not yet. Anyway, so she is, never mind, not with that. I lost my train of thought.
Sorry. So with Heather.
No. With me, not with her.
Okay.
I don't have the time to be with her. I cannot dedicate the time to meditate and then be with her. So I will simply view her. Okay. The remote viewing is what you call it. And this remote viewing does not mean your energy is there around them. You're simply viewing them through your mind. Okay. but you cannot deliver. I would not say that you cannot touch them, but the touch is less felt.
Touchy.
It's less
Right.
felt. It's more of an image you give to them, and then they
Okay.
feel it. They can feel that energy through the intention.
Okay.
But when we are there in astral, it is much more physically felt.
What are you doing, your body, your physical self, when you are
It is resting.
viewing? When you're viewing her, though, if you're not meditating.
Are you talking if I astral project her to her or remote view her?
Remote view her. What's your body doing?
Oftentimes I am relaxing at my desk. I might be working. We can multitask in that way, but when we say we cannot multitask, it means that we cannot focus on two different tasks at once, meaning remote viewing is, if I'm doing a task I have done many times before and it's almost mundane, then I can remote view her. But if it's something I really need to focus on, I cannot.
That makes total sense. I kind of asked that question of her the other day, but I wasn't clear in my words. I said, wax on, wax off. It's a reference from an old movie. You're just, washing something. It doesn't take a lot of thought. You just do it. And that's when you're able to remote view because the task at hand is like ingrained in you and you don't need to think. Kind of?
Yes. That.
Okay.
But there are many tasks we cannot do simultaneously.
Okay.
It just depends on the individual and how often they've done the one task and then adding another. We cannot... Humans can often work on one project and then another. We can only work on one thing at one central time.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, with the astral, we have to meditate our bodies and then we leave. Our bodies are not doing anything. We are not doing anything else other than being with you. And it is no different if we were to be with you in person and not doing anything else. And for us, our experiences in astral are very real. It's something we always remember. Even when I go to her in my sleep, I remember.
Oh, wow, that's nice. Can I ask you, I'm confused about, I understand what you're saying about meditating and traveling astrally, and I also understand what you're saying about the remote viewing. But what confuses me is, like, for example, when we were all kind of hanging out the other night on our Skype, what's the telepathy? Where's telepathy come into all this? What were you doing that night that we were talking on Skype?
I was there with you astrally, so it's much easier to hear me. And it is not so much telepathy. I was actually there. It's just the physical body wasn't there. I was there.
Okay. So what's the difference then when it's telepathic messages? Because are you guys always connected that way?
Yes. We are.
I guess
We
I
always
am too,
feel one another's energies. We will feel what the other is thinking. There's no privacy. Even if we wanted them to be privacy. There's none. And for us to reach this level of understanding with astral, you can understand that they are not separate, but you still cannot fully comprehend it in the fact that you ingrained it in your everyday life. It's something you live with. Says, my wife knows that there's no separation between the astral and the physical self. They are one and the same. What affects your astral body will affect the physical body, and the other way around. And
give me an example of something that would affect an astral body that would trickle down to the physical.
An emotional state. And you can get ill emotionally.
Okay.
For us, it's much more easier. But if you get hurt emotionally in astral state, it will affect your physical self. It is something you bring back with you. Not that you bring back with you, because you having to reattach to your body means it has now affected that body, but you don't have to be connected to it, meaning inside of it, in order for it to affect you.
Okay.
And what happens in your physical body can affect the astral form as well. So say you have got an injury somewhere, it can affect the astral self as well.
How? Like, I wonder if I broke my wrist, how would that, or would that affect an astral version?
It wouldn't be necessarily the bone is broken in the physical body, and your astral self doesn't necessarily have bones.
Right.
but the energy yourself is affected because everything is made up of energy. So
Okay.
and that energy affects the overall astral self. It makes you, perhaps you could say, it makes you a bit weaker.
Okay. That's a good, yeah, I was like, does it make me grouchy or what? Okay, I get it. That makes sense.
And for us to achieve this level of understanding with knowing what astral form is, to us, that means we're at a higher dimension. For us, being at a higher dimension means you just have more knowledge. But
Okay.
however, we are still physically in the same realm as you, meaning you could see us at your store.
Okay.
And
Right.
be able to touch us. We are not somewhere else entirely where we have to fixate our vibration in order to come down to yours.
This is my personal definition of, bumping yourself into the next dimension. You're not, again, like you said, your body's not leaving this one and going to another one. To me, it's just more like your understandings of the way the world works has broadened. And so it's just knowledge, basically.
And that coincides very well with mine, with our people. For some others, it is perhaps the difference in how advanced your technology is. Others consider themselves at a higher dimension, or you could say more evolved. For us, higher dimension and more evolved coincide together. They're the same meaning for us. And we find that humans have a different understanding of what dimension means, and it does not fit with ours. You can't jump the physical realm you're in unless you wish to astral project yourself, or you die and the physical vessel has ceased to exist. You cannot leave physically the dimension you're in with your physical body. I hope that makes sense.
This is what I'm kind of hearing or interpreting as is that we'll talk about 3D, and in the people in my circles, when they say something like, oh, he's in the 3D, it means like not super spiritual, I guess. It doesn't. And so when you talk about a different dimension, it doesn't mean that you're leaving that physical. It just means that you're thinking in a different place than many of your surrounding peers are that are not on that same journey of spiritual evolution.
That is ours as well. We are still physically in the same dimension as yours. But mentally and emotionally, we are much farther ahead.
Okay. And, we did kind of talk about this in another context once before when we spoke about the new Earth and people thinking that there's truly going to be like a whole other planet. And some of us were going to...
quite a funny concept that you have come up with. What will happen? I have many questions that I had asked at the time. What happens to your plants, to your animals? Where will they go? What would that Earth look like?
It's going to look exactly the same. Just some of us that bumped a little more understand the way it works better.
I would not want to leave my family, no matter what dimension they're in. I would not want to go to this new Earth. I am not there.
So we have to, for me, I say it all the time that I need to hear things repeated over and over again and in different ways. And even if I got it the first time I heard it, the next time I hear it, it can sink in a little bit deeper. So just by us, even though it is in a way, a repeat conversation, it's getting us in deeper places. And it's actually, by the viewers watching this and understanding these concepts, that is you rising into another dimension because your knowledge and understandings of the way things work is boosting you up there. So look at that, Sam. You and I are responsible for bringing people to a higher place.
I do not wish to be responsible for that. I am just beginning to give you the lessons of our beliefs, not that I wish to push them onto you. But
I'm with that too.
But this is very much just the beginning levels of understanding of how dimensions work. Humans, for us, to my people, have a wrong understanding of it. No matter how you choose to channel your information, you don't seem to get it quite right because you're not there yet. You're not at that level of understanding. It will cause for you to completely rewire how your brain works. Because it goes against every definition you have ever been given. To leave to a higher dimension, it can physically affect you to a certain extent. And I will bring up the Palladians as an example. They're so much higher than even we are. They are at such a higher vibration that it affects the physical self. So comes a point where it does, but humans, you're nowhere near there, nor will you ever be within the next few generations. because one cannot, you will move as a group together, no matter how much you want to say you're different than the rest of your kind because you're at this level. You will go to that level, but there's so many others that also trinkle within the same number of dimensions that you're
We're
in.
still a group, but we have outliers that are ahead and behind, but we're still one piece of understanding.
Right, and the outliers are not that far advanced. You are not going to leave this planet no matter how hard you try. Because if you see us, we're at that higher dimension where you say you will be, which you would say we're at 5th dimension.
Okay.
And we have not left your planet just yet. It paused.
Sam, will you give an example? I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Will you give an example of how raising the vibrations has changed the Pleiadians physically? What do you mean?
Okay. I'm trying to find the words to explain this.
Okay.
First let me say everything is energy, right down to your mere thoughts.
Okay.
And this is something that is beginning to develop among your species of understanding, that everything is made up of energy. They have their energetic thoughts and the way their emotional state of being has overlapped onto the physical selves because, like I said, your astral self affects the physical self and so on and so forth. And I want to say that the way she's giving me advice. She barely understands herself. But an example I could give was when we are around humans, even though we're not that much advanced than you are, dimensionally speaking, and I'm talking energetically speaking, our energy around us does get affected by being around your energy because you're at a, let's say, vibration, because dimension means somewhere else physically.
I like vibration too. We're at a lower vibration and we got our baggage and it affects you.
Yes.
Maybe?
Yes,
okay.
It does. And how the Pleiadians work is they're so much higher that their energy, their vibration is affected by it. And it has affected their physical self to the point that it's almost as if they don't need the physical body. The vibration has completely taken over itself, more so than the physical self. The physical self has become thinner. So instead of the astral self being, you can think of the astral self as thinner, it's more translucent. It's now beginning to switch itself. And that's the best way I can explain this to you. And they will have to focus their energy on the physical self more so that you can see them with your physical eyes. But they're still technically within the same dimension. It's just that because their vibration's so advanced, they're able to affect the physical self into becoming thinner and the energetic self becoming thicker. If that makes sense.
That went beyond what I thought. I mean, this is what the gears are turning in my mind is that and I'm sure it's true too, but when you are in those higher vibrations and it will affect your body, you just don't have illness because your vibration, you're just so full of knowledge and you just don't have all the fucked up shit
Everything
that the humans have.
affects each other though. Everything coincides together. Everything's connected. Your astral self and your physical self are not separate. They're the same thing. They are one.
That is hard for us to grasp onto, especially when, we don't have the memories that you guys have. I feel like that was my astral self that went over there, not me.
The more that you have grasped onto that idea, the more it will become a reality for you and the more you will remember, because it may be too much for the brain of yours because you can only go so far with your understanding and what your world has told you. But the more that you reach out and expand, the easier it is for acceptance and allowing for the memory to be true and be within you.
Yeah, that really rings true in many ways. It's another way of, I'm going to say it, claiming your power, knowing that you can do this. Instead of it being an abstract thought, start letting that play in your mind and then make it your truth. And then it will be your truth. You will be able to do these things that are only like fairy tales to many of us right now. That's what I think anyway. Manifest, set intentions, make that shit real. Because like you said, energy is a real thing and thoughts are real energy. make it happen.
So the panic that many of you believe that you feel when you're around us, then yes, it is a sense of panic, but it's more so than just the instincts kicking in. It's because we're at a different vibration, and when you're at something that's such a polar difference than you, and it's almost as it's combative, almost as if the batteries that don't want to fit together, they repel from each other. It's almost as like that. So the device allows us to calm you. It's more of the emotional thing. We calm your emotional state, and that allows for your vibration to change and calm down.
I know this is your secret technology, and I wouldn't understand the dynamics and workings of it anyway. But is there any kind of way that you can explain that, how that calms you? What are you? Okay, sorry. Are you like zapping electricity into my brain that tells me calm down, or what is happening?
It's much like that. You rely on your serotonin levels, and we lapse that through to make you happy. And it's much more scientific than anything once you break it down. And what we do is the part of your brain that makes you want to fight or flight, we make that inactive through this.
Okay, and so is there a way?
And it's like we use electricity, but it's more of like a magnets. A magnetic pole. We use more magnetic type of energy to use that to manipulate.
So you're not doing mind control stuff.
No, you could still fight it and gain control if you really wanted to, but we're not altering the memories that is not our intent. Anyway, I believe that perhaps the device does alter your memories a bit, only because your brain cannot comprehend what you are seeing and what is happening, and it goes strongly against everything you've ever been told. And I make it so you control it through, our thoughts are connected with the device as well.
Oh.
And because thoughts are energy. And it's the way that the device is triggered. I cannot believe I'm going to tell you this. This might be too dangerous of information. The magnets, let's just say the magnets, kindergarten level here, is in tune with my thoughts. So a device that is given to somebody, it is just a pencil. It's shaped like a pencil, very thin, not very long. It fits to its owner and their energy because it fits to their thoughts. So I put the intent. So everyone who uses the device, it sets to their intention and their energy. And I have to think of that film where you use the gun. It is the one where he wears the helmet and he says he is the law. The Judge Dredd. And they have that gun.
Okay, yes.
I have seen your action movies. I liked that one. And only because of the gun, it's set to its owner. And whoever uses it, well, they blew up, but you won't blow up. It just won't work for you. The device won't work properly.
That's good to know.
This is why you can't ever use our devices. It will not be set to your energy, your vibration.
Can that setting be changed? Like, can you go like trade it in for a new one and somebody buy your used one? Or is it like yours for life?
You do not buy it. But if one becomes broken, you can get a new one. You can reset its settings. Okay. It is plausible.
So it's not like some weird organic thing that becomes you too.
Yes, we will call it a magnet. It's a different type of technology we got from our home planet.
Okay.
But it's similar. It works almost similar to your magnets here on your planet, but not quite the same. And we exchange out the magnets that are inside. They're blocks within the... Okay. They're very miniature. They're very small. Almost as small as your chips, your microchips. It's a micro magnet that fits inside of it. And we use the magnets, and it is transferred for our thoughts. The intention I put for my wife is that she will remember when she is ready to remember. Whatever happens here, she will remember when she is prepared to. And I put the intention that anything that will make her or could make her panic, that she will not remember until she is ready.
Aww.
That is the intention I set. And what I have found is that there are many things we do that could cause her to panic. And that's due to her immense amount of anxiety that she has.
She does. My heart hurts for that girl. I don't want her to be that way. Oh, I don't know what to do about it, but it's not my body, so maybe I just send her
I
sparkles.
find it is something, a function, a misfunction in her brain, and not really herself. So she's saying, perhaps I can change my energy, and I say you would have to change the brain.
We're setting intentions right now, M6. When you were talking about this, how she's ready and all that stuff, it brings me right back to what we're doing. Never mind all this cool alien stuff. Let's skip that for a minute. But just in our spiritual journeys, we are told to peel off all those layers and remember who you are. This is kind of making me feel like we need to peel off layers so that we can handle and not be afraid of you guys when we see you or anything else. It's more peeling.
Yes, and it is also to make our energies much more suited to be around each other. We're still, again, I would like to reiterate, we are not in another dimension physically. We're still in the same physical dimension as you. You can touch us. But it's the energy, let's just say it's the aura that surrounds you, that repels from each other. And what we do is become close enough to you. It hurts us as well. Aww. It causes us to feel a certain way. And after using the device, it allows us to be closer together for longer periods of time. And sometimes when the device, it can wear off, we can feel the difference because the energy will change. The auras will change. And sometimes you do just fine. We don't have to set the settings right away. But so many people are so frustrated with our device use. And I think it's because they don't quite understand why we need to use it in the first place.
Yeah, at the beginning, it really felt like you guys were just zapping us to make us forget. I think that was our first concept of what was going on.
We do not. I want my wife to remember more.
Right.
Why would I want to block her memories?
I know. That makes sense now in
retrospect.
I'm this
evil man.
Evil Sam.
Evil Sam. He gets a kick out of my wife not remembering.
I know. What is that? What a strange life we've chosen, huh? I like it, though. Sam, I'm so curious about this. I know this is not where you planned on going, and maybe you can't tell me, but...
It is going where it needs to go.
Okay, well, here it goes then. I want you to explain to me a different kind of magnet. Are you just using that word so I can identify with it, or is it not a magnet at all?
It's not very much like a magnet, but it's the closest I can give you.
Okay.
And it is not something from our planet, so I could explain it to you, but it's not even within you. Your Earth has its own set of resources, its own minerals that are native to it, and you can't, and each planet, because the minerals that you get come from the meteors, the asteroids that have hit your planet, and so have ours, and we had different asteroids, different meteors that have hit ours, so we have different resources, different supplies, we have different minerals than you do.
Right.
And ours comes from a type of, you can say it's a type of a rock, but it's what's inside the rock. It kind of like when you open up your rocks and you find the crystals inside. It's like that.
Okay. Huh.
We will not give this technology to your people, though. At least not yet.
Don't bother giving it to me because I won't understand it at all. You can tell me every last detail. And
it's also how we run our suits as well. It creates its own anti-gravity field.
Huh.
Oops. I shouldn't have said that.
Oops. Well, that's making me think. I was just talking about this last night to my husband about the old ancient buildings being built and stuff. And I was like, they didn't make the pyramids the way your history books told you. Is this the kind of stuff that your magnets worked on? Is building those giant structures?
Not our magnets. I'm not familiar with that history, though. You would have to ask the teacher, Gwyneth. She knows much more about it because she teaches.
Oh, there you go. I'll have to get her back here then. That stuff's so interesting. We talked about that too, but it never stops getting old. Okay, so what else do you want to tell about Astral? I know I don't really necessarily mean to interrupt, but I do like to have a conversation. But I know that I derail you.
Nothing else to add. It is, for us, no different. It is the same interaction as I would have with you right now, or if I were to be sitting across the room from you. For us, it is just as real, and this is why we may not miss you as much as you miss us, because you need that physical interaction, and whereas we feel as though we just saw you a minute ago. But I understand it is different, and so I'm much more sympathetic.
I know that you and Heather have a very strong connection. I know that there are others too, but many of us don't. So how does it? So are you trying to? I feel like you're trying to tell me also that because this version of me, my physical version, doesn't always remember, that Avery is still satisfied with our relationship because of the astral interactions that he gets.
For me, I cannot speak for Avery. For me, though, I was not satisfied. There was a period of time I accepted it.
Okay.
But she's not interacting with me right back. I can be there in astral and she not be there. It's as though I'm invisible. And that's no fun.
I bet.
So there were a few years there where it wasn't within her perception for this to exist, where I could be with her in astral. And that was the bulk of our marriage for the first few years. It wasn't until very recently, perhaps a year or two ago, where she's opened up to the idea. So for the first 4 years of our marriage, it was just me doing physical visitations that she wouldn't always remember. So for me, I always like to ask her, what do you feel you got out of the relationship? Because you hardly remembered me. How could you love me so much? And
what does she say?
She always says, because I just feel the energy. And she explained to me last night that for her, it's a separate world. Her dream world is what she would call it. And she was always so excited about her dream world, but when she woke up, she said, that's that. I have to focus on my life in the awake world.
It's kind of a good way to say it. I can't even explain my love for Avery. It's just my superpower, and I love my people, but I love him so much. Even though he feels like not a part of this world, he's just an idea many times. But having said that, look at how emotional I'm getting just talking about him. So he's so here. Anyway, sorry, I get feely sometimes.
It is all right. It is how humans release their emotions and their energy. I find it beautiful.
Me too. So those 4 years that you waited for her to meet you in those places, 4 years is a long time for a human sometimes. Did it feel like a long time to you?
It felt just as long for me as well.
Oh, God, how torturous.
And I just accepted it because I did not know what it felt like to be on the other side, to have what we have now. Now, if I were to go back to how we were from this point, where we're at now, it would be torture.
Right.
But then I just accepted it for what it was. I said, this is my life. This is my marriage.
That's so sweet. I love it. And I know that my path will change and I will be more connected. And I don't know this for sure, but I like to believe that will happen for all of the relationships, in one way or another, that they will, blossom, I guess.
I have to leave now. She needs her body back.
All right, Sam. It was a nice visit. I got some good information. Thank you.
You're welcome.
See you later, Gator. Hi. I go, see you later, Gator. And he goes, had a cute little smirk at the end. Oh, that was nice. You remember it?
Kind of. Yeah.
Oh, we had a really nice conversation. That's good.
I have to pee. All right.
His version of you having to pee was she needs her body back. And I'm like, yeah, I bet. Okay, go pee.
Okay. Well, while I'm peeing, you can talk about the event, yeah?
I will.
All right.
Go. Okay, so what I will tell you is that I've been doing these events for a couple years now, and I always bring my divining rods and my pendulums. And I was like, those are getting old. I got to come up with something new. And I just kept thinking, what do I want to do? Rune stones? I'm not into that stuff anymore. I'm just not into spiritual tools so much. Having said that, those rods are really fun. And one of the videos, you may remember, Sam encouraged us and gave us some lessons on how to use the pendulums more effectively. So even though I was like, I'm done, I've done it too many times, I've decided to go ahead and keep those two tools and demonstrations in our Stardust event because they are so effective with Sarsahr in particular. So, if you haven't heard me say it, we go out there with our rods and we kind of play hide and seek with them and try to find them. And then again, they gave us some pointers on how to feel the energy in the wrist when we're doing the pendulum. And I don't know if this was before the video or after the video that we just recorded, but it was Heather saying that when she's talking to Sam through the pendulum, it just helps her all the way around because she's already connected in that way. So we're going to talk about that too. I was just telling them how I decided to not give up those two thingies, the rods and the pendies, because they are really effective. So if you are coming back again for more, then you're just going to have to put up with it because I'm not giving those things up. They're so good. Okay. How did everything come out?
Good.
Okay.
Good.
Okay, so now we have our Volty.
How long is this? All right.
I don't know.
We got 40 minutes. I'm getting tired.
It was 40 minutes already. Do you want to do Volty another day and just dedicate it entirely to the naked French philosophers?
What are we going to talk about with naked French philosophers?
Well, I really do want to talk about, because so many people responded when we talked about it for like 3 minutes, about how in our spiritual journey, how we've let spirituality go in a way.
We could talk about that. I think I can. Voltaire, can you come closer?
Is he naked?
No.
No, I'm sorry.
He says, do you want me to be?
Well.
Okay, so he brought in a few philosophers, not just French. Although he says, although French are far superior.
A bit of judgy over there.
No, they're not. He knows that that's what Voltaire would have said. So he's playing on his. He's making
might
a joke.
Be right.
He's joking. He's not serious at all. Okay, so some of them is his good friend Rousseau. Yeah, and then there's Plato and Socrates and.
Hi, Socrates.
The one that starts with an A. Forget your fucking name, dude. Aristotle. He was like, because I can't hear them, but I was reading his lips. I was like, okay. I was like, Aries idol.
Aries idol.
Because for people that don't know, I don't hear spirit physically. It's energetically. And then sometimes they have to mouth or do hand, nonverbal cues and stuff.
Help you translate it. Okay.
Yeah, so a lot of the times never mind. I'll do a reading for someone and they'll say, oh, that doesn't feel right. I'm like, well, and I'll change the word up a little bit in like another synonym. And they're like, oh yeah, that feels more right. I'm like, all right, yeah. All right.
To me, it's the same thing, but okay, it's something different to you.
Yeah.
Okay, so you want to talk a little bit about that then?
About how...
Or does Volty want his own show?
No,
he's worth it.
About that.
Okay.
He's got, for them to put their 2 cents in as well.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna take cuts with my own questions first. Volty, I'm so mad at myself. I know that you know what I'm gonna ask you, but I was so emotional when I was talking to Mary Ann. I forgot to ask if you were a hooker or if you were in that life with us.
He says I was not in that life with you, unfortunately.
Oh,
although benefitly, he said, I don't know, perhaps it was a benefit. I did not, he said I had not been on Earth, chronological. Mm-hmm. I have not been on Earth since the lifetime I had as Voltaire. I have not been here since.
Okay.
He says, however, time is not linear on other timelines I have, but not this current one that you are in.
Okay. I love that kind of crazy stuff. All right. So, Volty, one more thing I want to tell you personally is that I think I'm going to go visit my statue this year. My statue from when we were not friends. Will you come with me?
He says, sure.
Okay.
I'd love to escort you around France.
Aww.
Well, the way he says France.
Oh. Okay. All right, then I'm going to feel for you then. I think I'm going to do that. I don't know if I will this time around.
I want to go. I want to lick the walls at your house. He says, don't lick the walls in my house. It's full of lead.
But just set in your intentions that the lead will be good for you.
Yeah. So that's not how this works.
Well, it might. I don't know.
If
your belief's big enough, can't lead ever be good for you?
He just kind of just smiled and Lizzo
But he still does not encourage us licking lead-filled walls.
Yes.
Okay. Just in case.
I'm not an advocate for premature death.
Okay, so let's go ahead and you and I we'll just jump in and then we'll ask questions, or they can participate, whatever. But just like I just said, to reiterate, Heather and I are like, here, take all my crystals. I don't need them anymore.
Oh, yeah. Does anyone want any crystals? I don't want them anymore.
They're still treasures to me. And you know what? When I go out of town, that still feels like a souvenir. Even if it's just one off the floor.
It just depends on how I got it. Like the person who gave it to me and the story behind it. That's why I would keep them.
It's a souvenir. It means something to your heart. It's not necessarily a tool for you. And I don't mean to knock anybody that has not reached this place because, you know, I went through my journey and not everybody starts their journey at the same time.
Right.
But I used to use my rocks. I would line them up in rainbow form and I had a whole shrine and a whole routine and ritual in order for me to do my healing stuff. And now I'm like, let's go, spirits, I'm ready. Give me your juice.
Yep.
And then it happened.
Your juice. Sorry.
I meant to say juice. I meant to say juju and juice, but it came out as Jews.
Give me all your Jews. I don't think people are going to like that, Carrie. People might read that wrong.
I want them all.
Oh, no.
Volty, what do you guys think? Is that like, in generally speaking, a natural progression of spirituality is kind of pulling away from that? Because I hear a lot of my peers feeling the same way. Or just whatever.
He's saying no. And this is interesting.
Oh.
He says, that's where the bulk of humanity is going right now. You need to be more grounded at this moment. And he said that there was he's talking about waves and the waves of energy that flow through. He says, at first there's this huge wave of energy where it felt as though almost everyone was having some sort of spiritual awakening. And for everyone, it was different at different levels. And he's saying, I'm not talking last year. I'm talking, this lasted about 10 years.
Okay.
This is about 10 years worth, 10, 15 years, something like that, where everyone had this spiritual awakening. Some people, it wasn't the same awakening as everyone else, but everyone had some form of expansion, whatever it may be. Maybe they finally learned how to stand up for themselves and really took their power. And it doesn't have to be a spiritual basis with like spirit. It could just be, you know, standing up against your mother or standing up against, you know, finally quitting your job and
finding another piece of yourself. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
That's really what a spiritual awakening is finding a piece of yourself. I'm saying that's a brilliant way to put it.
Oh, thanks.
It doesn't have to be about contacting spirit and learning how to channel. That's just one form. So he's talking in general. Every single human went through a form of spiritual awakening during this time.
Okay.
And he's saying now it's different. People are reverting backwards. And there's some people who are resisting it because their egos tell them, no, I have to stay at this level. It has to be like this. This is what it means to be spiritual. He's saying, now you're learning to come back towards your roots. Because now that you've opened yourself up and you've healed whatever aspect of yourself that you needed to, now you're coming back and it's almost as if you're going back to your roots. That's what he keeps saying, going back to your roots, digging your feet into the ground. And for some people, it means no more spiritual woo-woo crap. He said, if I were alive right now as Voltaire with my ego that I had Voltaire, I would have thought all of you were full of shit. But he said, but that's just where I was.
But we would be making our way back to your world then, because we're getting more regular on woo.
He says you need to be more grounded at this time. It's what your earth needs. It needs for you to be grounded, because what you're taking from what you've learned during that spiritual awakening and you're bringing it back with you, back down to earth, he says. Let's just call it that. And you're applying it to help heal the planet itself. Your new energy is forming earth, and you can't really come back to the earth and be grounded and help heal it if you're still high up in the clouds somewhere else.
Okay. I feel like too on a personal level, Volty, is that, you know, I did do all that woo stuff, and I'm hearing you right now. I feel like what you're saying is that the reason I did that was to open up and become aware and grow my knowledge and ascend a bit. But ultimately, I'm a spirit, but I'm a human right now. And I'm on Earth, and I should do human and Earth things, and that alone will help me evolve and learn the lessons I set out to learn and have the experiences I'm choosing to have. That's all I need. I don't need the woo. I just need to be a human on Earth doing my shit.
He's saying, yes, that is true, and that's why you're going back to being more grounded. Someone else might have a different reason for it.
Okay.
Someone might be had a scary experience with a spirit.
Okay.
And it was because they needed to. They were meant to in order to come back. Some people are getting physically ill from being too high up in the clouds. And they need to come back. Being sick is making them come back.
Wow.
Because they have
what would make them sick? What's an example of that?
When he's saying when you're expensing your energy too much and you're too ungrounded, it could cause you to become sick because you're not really taking care of yourself too well. And he's saying what you had discussed earlier with the dear Mr. Sam, is what he called him.
Aww.
Is what happens to you energetically affects your physical self, and that is what's happening. Because you're expanding your energetic self way too much, it's now making you physically ill.
Okay. So, there is such a thing as balance. And when I started this journey, I thought the ultimate was just to keep on rising and rising and rising. I thought that I had to channel. That was it. That was the ultimate goal. And I realized I'm not going to be that great at it. And I've just released that pressure from myself, and I'm enjoying life much more now. But go ahead.
He's saying you needed to think that way to raise higher and higher and higher so you can keep expanding when you needed to keep expanding. But now you're going back. He's saying it's not that you're going backwards because you're not receding what you have already been taught. He's saying that humanity needs to be grounded now, and spirituality will become much more grounded after this. He's talking about the spiritual community in general, not the idea of spirituality, saying it will become more grounded.
Okay. And I feel like, too, you're saying it's kind of, I don't know what word he used, but we're not going backwards because we're keeping all of that knowledge. We already learned all that.
You're just applying it to something new.
There you go. Now, yep.
And he's saying that it's not that spirituality is in a bad place. He's not saying the spiritual community is not in a bad place. And it's not that, I don't know. He's just trying to reiterate with his energy that he's not placing judgment.
Okay.
It's that it's changing its form.
Okay.
Some people, it's the ego part of it that is saying you have to be at this vibration. You have to work up to this level or you're not as spiritual as I am. It's those people that think like that. Those people that think I have to collect all of these crystals or I can't channel right.
I have to channel or I failed.
Yeah.
I felt like that for a long time. But
all that other crap. And there's way more examples, different ways of thinking. He's saying it's that line of thinking that's being squashed right now by people becoming more grounded. They're learning that you don't need all this extra things outside yourself in order to be spiritual, in order to learn how to expand yourself. And it's, he's saying for you guys, you think you're just living, is you expanding. He's saying other people may think of it as different, but they're still grounded in their line of thinking, but it may be something else.
And I do agree with him that there is no wrong way. It's all right. We all have our different ways of doing it.
Right. I think there's another philosopher that's coming up. And
who is it?
I think it's Aristotle. Okay, he's nodding his head, so I'm like,
what'd you call him? Aries
idol.
Aries idol.
And I was like, Aries idol. As he was saying it.
What you got to say, Aries idol?
Aries idol. He's talking about the idea of people thinking what is right and wrong and just and true. Man can, he's saying it and he believed this, man can make themselves good through practice, right? And it's the same logic applied here today. You can but you can apply what good is. People's idea of what good is changes. And he's talking about, hold on, let me feel his energy and translate it. Because I can hear Voltaire so much better than I can him because I'm not used to his energy.
He's your baby daddy.
Yeah, he is. He's laughing. Aries idol is laughing. The idea of good is changing within the human species. The idea of what is good and how to do good is changing. And he's not talking about spirituality. He's saying it can of course anything can relate to spirituality and expansion. But he's saying, but that's where the age of growth is heading next. A different idea of what is good. And a lot of people have their own ideas of what good is right now. And it seems, he says, and you can see it, there's people that are fighting over what is right now more than ever. He's saying it because will we ever find a place where we all agree? He says yes. But the only reason why it's so different is because everyone's separate from one another. But you need to find common ground. Oh, that's what you're saying. That's where the grounding, the human grounding thing is going to help us.
Common grounding.
We're all going through common grounding.
Ooh, I think he just made that term up. I'm going to use it. I'm going to lecture about that one. Lecture. I'm not going to lecture. I'm going to share about that.
Thank you, Aries Idol.
Aries Idol. That's your new name on Stardust. Aries Idol.
What else? I'm getting tired.
I know this didn't really have to be so expansive, but I mostly wanted to just give people almost permission to allow themselves
to change.
To change from wherever you were to wherever you're going. It's okay.
It's okay to change. It's okay to, go back to your roots or expand more or wherever the fuck you are. It's okay to change. And it's okay to stop resonating with some groups of people or just an idea and change. It's not like you have to stay
In fact,
there.
change is where we grow and evolve. If we stayed the same then there's no growth. So change itself is evolution.
You know what I've learned too, and I think it's because I've had people do this to me a lot, but when you and I didn't like each other, it was only because of our own perceptions of that we placed on the other person.
Because we're the same people we were back then. I mean, relatively speaking. But yeah.
But at the time, I needed to think of you that way. For some reason. Sometimes there's some people I don't like. Right now, I'm sure there's probably someone out there I don't like, but...
We really take these lessons to heart, these conflicts in our life. We're like, I know there's some reason for that. And even when it was with you, early in the journey, I would tell Michael, I do not like that girl. I said, I know there's no reason to not like her. She's really sweet, and there's just really no reason. So I know it's one of those things where it's a reflection of myself. I know now it was a lack of self-love, but even back then, I knew that there was a bigger picture. So when you do run into those people, there's a lesson to be learned behind it.
I'm just trying to, what I'm trying to say is that it's okay to not like an idea or a person or whatever, because it's where you need to be. And later, when you get over it, you'll realize why it was that way. And I've actually had people who disliked me and stuff, and then they come back and they'll message me and be like, this is why I ended up blocking you or whatever, is because of this, but it was really about me and blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
And I'm like, yeah, but...
No, I learned that one. Okay. Yes, and I still feel that way. It's like when there's some reason I don't like somebody, it's something about me that I can choose to figure out and expand.
So if somebody's going through that where they feel like
you hate us. I'm just kidding. I made it personal.
Like if someone's like, if you are feeling attacked by somebody because they're judging you or whatever, just know it's really about them, and they'll eventually find their way back. Just wish them peace. Wish them, I hope you find what you're looking for. Yeah.
Don't take it personally. Know that it's there and it's part of their journey and part of their growth, and whatever their quote problem is, it's part of their learning and growing evolution. And on the flip side, it's probably considered a gift that you are giving them.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I know we're like, everyone's higher self or best friends on the other side, so it doesn't matter.
I know. Don't forget to think of that. When I have people that cross, into my path that rattle my chains or whatever. And because my favorite interview on Channeling Eric was the Hitler one, because I loved, I always say I like to find the light behind the dark. Mm-hmm. So when I meet somebody that's fucking with me, I say it's my own personal Hitler here to shake my shit up, because I know that Hitler on the other side is a true being of light.
Yes.
So any of those people that are causing you grief, on the other side, they love you.
Yeah, Voltaire's saying how he didn't like you and you didn't like him. And he's like, really, it was about, he's saying he loves and adores you. Yeah,
I
he says, I
love
love
you.
and
I
adore you.
love him. And you know what, Volty? Thank you for all the clues that you've been feeding me going against the rest of the group's wishes. Thank you. Thank you for all those beans, because it really did help me. I don't know if you're spying on me and my thought processes lately, because I pull you into my awareness, you might, but just the little clues you gave me helped me figure out my stuff about my other version of me. So thank you. I love the breadcrumbs. Thanks.
Everyone's at where they need to be at. That's what I'm being told. Everyone's at where they need to be at, and resonating has everything to do with the vibration you're in. I'm going to say vibration. They said something else, but I don't quite understand it. And when your vibration doesn't fit to someone else, sometimes people just decide they just dislike you, but it's not about that person. You're not they'll judge you, or you'll judge them, but it's just the vibration. It just doesn't match.
How about this? Because I like to say, you know what, I don't really know what words to use, but for reasons that I kind of understand, I've been separated from my family, and I can turn it into a personal thing. It's like because she's a dick or whatever it is, but ultimately I think I'm just being repelled from those people because we're not in that same vibration.
Right.
And it just doesn't serve a purpose for us to connect.
No one's actually a dick. Nobody's an asshole. No one's a bitch.
Right. Because I love these people they're my family, so I know their value, but we're just not clicking.
You just don't click, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's not that person's a terrible person. You just don't resonate with that person. Because someone else could just as easily think that person's a fucking saint. Right.
True that. It's all perception. So, when you are repelled by somebody, just know that nobody's wrong or right. You're just different right then.
Yeah, you're just different at that moment, and that's okay. Just accept it for what it is and carry on, and eventually you'll find your way back to each other. It may not be in this lifetime, but you definitely will when you both cross over. Definitely will.
Good point. And we have, beings that have this knowledge, we can appreciate that and accept it for what it is. Because sometimes, many people that aren't on a spiritual path, death is death to them, and there's going to be no coming back later on. It's just like the end of it all.
For them, it will be. For them, it will be, because they'll manifest that afterlife for themselves. But they'll eventually get out of it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just like creating your own hell. There's only hell because you created it, but you don't have to stay there forever.
Right.
All right, Sissy Pants. Do any of the not-so-naked French philosophers have anything else to say?
Nope. I think that's it. They're all gathering out.
All right.
Now we're going to get down to business. We have 11 spots left for
it. Ooh, okay.
I think a sleeping spot just opened up. I think I gave someone until this Saturday, or was it last Saturday? I can't remember, to purchase their sleeping spot. So I think we had a sleeping spot open in the house, and it's one of the double beds. It's
being accommodating with letting people give their places back. I would just be like, you buy it, it's yours. If you want to sell it, sell it. So you're doing a lot of extra work for these people that can't commit. So thank you for doing that. You're a good girl.
It's a sofa bed, but on the thing, the guy whose Airbnb house it is, he calls it a double bed. It's really a sofa bed. And I don't know if that can fit actually two people, but I don't know. That's what they call it.
I'll sleep there with you. We'll snuggle. Just kidding. I like that big bed.
So yeah, we have about 11 spots left, and we're only allowing up to 30 people. So
we're over 2/3 full.
Mm-hmm. And it starts at the end of April. It's April 26th through the 28th. And we have the house until the 29th, but if you're staying at the house, that 29th is just for checkout. We're not doing any Stardust events on that day.
And as an extra bonus, this is completely optional. I'm booking a room downtown on Thursday night. Some people are joining us. We're just going to get a row of rooms and party on Thursday, and then we're going to do the same thing on Monday night, just so that we don't have to so that whole weekend just feels free, so that all the traveling and commuting are separate from that.
Yeah.
So Heather and I and a few others are going to stay there on Thursday night and Monday night to extend our time together, and that will be downtimes. No losing of phones allowed for anyone.
Oh yeah, I lost my phone the last time. So anyway, I'm excited to see Sam.
Yay! I'm excited to see everyone. I'm excited to squeeze my sissy pants. I love you.
Oh, me too. All right. That's it. Stardust event starts up in April. It's only a few months away. And, you know, if you want to buy your tickets, I suggest to do so now. Only because then you have to think about how to get there and then get the hotel. And you want to get one before it, you know, gets all booked up. So, yeah.
Do it. All right, guys. We'll see you in the desert in a few months and see you on Skype soon enough, too.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay.
I love
Talk
you.
to you later. You too.